Hello, children. Today we're going to start your fiction book that is The Railway Children. Uh, First, I'll give you a very brief introduction about this book, and then we'll go on to the reading part, and then we'll go and solve the complete exercises. The Railway Children is the story of Robbie, Peter, and Phyllis. When their father suddenly goes away, later on they find out that he was in prison because somebody falsely accused him for treason. The family has to leave their London house and go live in a country. Their new house is near the railway, and the children have a lot of adventures as they explore in the place. ठीक है जी. So, first of all, we'll do the reading part. I'll try that you should comprehend once I read, and we'll keep discussing the things also. And we'll try to complete this in one session, right? And the reading part we'll try to complete in one session, and then in the second part we'll do the exercises, right? Okay. In chapter 1, they were not railway children at first. They lived with their mother and father in a beautiful red brick home in London. Roberta, the oldest, was a very sweet child. Everybody called her Bobby. Peter, the middle child, wanted to be an engineer when he grew up. The youngest child, Phyllis, was always trying to be good but was always a bit clumsy. Peter's favorite toy was a train engine. He loved it more than anything else. One day, however, his toy engine broke and Peter was very sad. Don't worry, my dear, mother told Peter. Father will fix your toy engine when he comes back tonight. Comes back home tonight. In the evening, father arrived and Peter ran straight to him. Oh, father, can you please help me fix my toy engine? Peter asked right away. Father said while looking at the engine. Of course, I can help you. Let's wait until Saturday afternoon and we'll fix the engine together. Then, suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Ruth, the housemaid, answered the door and told father that two gentlemen wanted to speak with him. Father went to speak to the gentleman, and after a while, Ruth returned and called mother into the study. The children were very curious. They heard the gentleman talking with father and mother. Then they heard sound of boots walking down the steps and out of the front door. A little later, mother came into the room. She was very pale and her eyes were red. It's bedtime, children, she said. Ruth, Ruth will put you to bed. But you promised we could stay up late tonight with father, said Peter. Father had to go away on business, said mother. Come, darling, go at once. The three children were wondering what was the matter, but they kissed her and went to sleep. Mother looked very sad and they didn't want to upset her more. The next day, mother was out all day until 7 in the evening. When she had her cup of tea, she said, My darlings, I want to tell you something. Those men last night did bring very bad news, and father has to be away for some time. I'm very worried about it, and I want you all to help me and not make things harder for me. The children agreed because they did not want to see mother looking so sad. The days passed and the mother was always out. Ruth had to leave and Aunt Emma came to help out at home. She was very strict and the children did not like her very much, so they didn't spend a lot of time with her. Then one day, mother announced to the children that they would be moving to a new house. My dears, everything is settled. We are going to leave this house and go live in the country, she told them. Days of packings followed. When everything was ready, They all took a cab to the railway station, and Aunt Emma waved goodbye to them. The children were quite sad to leave their home in London. But they were also very excited about their new life in the country, right? So in the first chapter, what we have learned is that um, these three children, they were having a very good life in their house in London, but one night some people came and took their father away, and their mother told them that they are moving to a countryside home. And so at the end of this chapter, they are now leaving to new home. So this is chapter 2 now. Mother, Ruby, Phyllis, and Peter arrived at the Three Chimneys, the country house, late in the evening. They were all very tired and hungry. Well, here we are, said Mother. Now let's find some candles to see if there is any food. The children lit candles and looked around. It was a small house with very simple furniture, nothing like their old home in London. The children looked in the kitchen and they looked in the dining room, but there was nothing for dinner. Well, said Mother, maybe Mrs. Viney forgot about it. Who is Mrs. Viney? Asked Bobby. She is a woman from the village. She is going to help me with the house, answered Mother. What are we going to eat now? Asked Peter. I'm hungry. Don't worry, there are some things from the old house in that box, said Mother. There were biscuits and dried fruit, a tin of sardines, and marmalade. It was strange dinner, but they all enjoyed it very much. Then they made their beds and went to sleep. Look, children, said Mother in the morning, there's another room next to the kitchen, and last night's dinner is in there. We can have it for breakfast. There's cold meat and bread and butter and cheese, said Bobby. And apple pie, said Peter. I love apple pie. After breakfast, Mother went to her room to work. The children looked at each other. Let's go outside and explore, shouted Peter. That's a good idea, said Phyllis. Let's go and see the garden. Oh, never mind about the garden, cried Peter. Let's go to the railway. Bobby and Phyllis liked the idea and followed Peter. They walked to the railway and explored the railway lines. They visited the station and the tunnel, and they saw a lot of interesting things. They even saw a real train coming out of the tunnel. A few more days went by. One very cold morning in June, Mother was in her room writing. Oh, Mother, said Peter, it's so cold in here. Can we please light a fire? My dear Peter, Mother said, we cannot light a fire. Coal is very expensive and we do not have a lot of money now. That is why I'm writing. I'll try to sell my stories so we can have more money. Peter said nothing, but he went to his sister. Hey, listen, I have an idea. I know where we can find some coal. Come on, he said. Bobby and Phyllis followed Peter to the railway station, and he took them to a big pile of coal. Peter had brought a small wagon with him, and he started filling it with coal. Suddenly he heard a noise, and a hand grabbed him by the jacket. Hey, you thief! Stop there! A voice called out. It was the station master. I'm not a thief, sir, Peter yelled. I'm a coal miner. A coal miner? Ah, said the man. Well, this is not your coal, and stealing is wrong. Now come on, let's go to the station. Oh, please, shouted Bobby, not the police station. Ah, so there are more of you, shouted the station master. Please, sir, begged Phyllis. We did not mean to steal, but Mother said We were too poor to have a fire. The station master looked at the three children. Hmm. You must be the children from the three chimneys, he said. Yes, sir, Bobby answered. Well, then I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you go this time, but remember, stealing is stealing, and what's mine is not yours. Now run along home, the station master said. Oh, thank you, sir. You are a dear, said Bobby. You are a darling, said Phyllis. The three children walked home silently. They were happy they did not get into trouble, but sad because they still had no coal. Now we come to the chapter 3. Despite their adventure with the station master, the children could not keep away from the railway. One day, they were sitting on a hill near the tunnel, waiting for the 9:15 train to pass. Then suddenly they heard a loud noise and saw the train. It looked like a large, loud monster. Let's call this train the Green Dragon, said Peter. It's loud and long, just like a dragon. The green dragon is going where father is, said Phyllis. Let's all wave to it as it goes by. It may take our love to father. The three children stood up and waved their handkerchiefs to the train. Suddenly a hand waved back. It was the hand of an old gentleman. From that day on, the children waved to the 9:15 train, and old gentleman always waved back to them. On their way back, they saw the station master. Good morning, children, he said. Here's an orange for each of you. He gave the children the oranges and kept walking. Well, that's strange, Peter said. Perhaps he doesn't remember us from the other day. He's a good fellow. He is, said a voice from behind. The children turned to look. I'm Pox, the porter. Nice to meet you, said a tall, thin man. Nice to meet you too, the three children responded. The porter was a nice man and told them many stories about the railway. The three children liked him very much and promised to visit him again. The children arrived back home excited and full of stories for mother. However, they found mother quite ill. Her head ached, her throat was sore, and her hands were burning hot. Children, your mother is sick and needs help. I think we must call Dr. Forrest, Mrs. Viney said. The doctor came and examined mother. Well, your mother has the flu, he finally said. Make her some beef tea and give her milk and soda water. And here's a list of things she'll need. Now let her rest, and she'll be fine in no time. When the doctor left, mother told Bobby, Dear, we cannot afford all those things, the doctor said. Tell Mrs. Viney to make a simple soup and I'll be fine. Bobby was quite upset by this, but she had an idea. She decided to write the old gentleman from the 9:15 train asking for his help. The next morning, Bobby and Peter waited for the green dragon to pass. When they saw the train, they held up a sign that said, Look out at the station. The gentleman saw the sign, and when the train arrived at the station, Phyllis ran to him and quickly placed a letter in his hand. This is what the letter said. Dear Mister, we do not know your name. Mother is ill and we need the things at the end of the letter. But we have no money. Father is away and we do not know anything about anybody here, only you. So please help us. Father will pay you when he comes back, or Peter will pay you when he is older. We promise. Roberta, Phyllis, and Peter. In the evening, there was a knock on the door. It was Perks, the porter. Hello, children. This package is for you, he said, and left the package on the table. Oh, look, Bobby said, and she opened the package. Everything we asked for is here, and even more. We must thank the old gentleman. A few days later, when the old gentleman looked out of the train, He saw the children holding a big sign that said, "She's almost well. Thank you." He smiled and waved his handkerchief out of his window.